So hello and welcome to another edition of the NFTX Governance Call. Today is the 9th of November and this is Governance Call number 29. If anyone is new, this is like the town square of NFTX where we get together and talk about what's been happening since the previous Gov Call and what might be on the horizon for NFTX and answer any questions that yourselves, the community, might have as well. This is an open discussion and we do encourage participation. So when we get to the open discussion part at the end, please use the tool in Jitsi to raise your hand and ask a question. Or if you're feeling shy, you can add the question to the chat and we'll read that out at the end as well. You don't necessarily have to wait until the open discussion as well. If there's something that we're talking about that you want to comment on or have further questions, please feel free to interject as we go through as well. And just a reminder as well that this is being recorded and will be distributed onto public channels like YouTube. So please do keep that in mind if you're concerned about privacy. With all that, we'll jump straight into the first item as well, which this is a little update on the team. Twade, who is one of our protocol devs, as part of XIP 29, proposal was put forward for Twade to increase his compensation as part of an increase in his work. So he's been doing about 70 hours a month. In the past, when he was only we had him scheduled for, I think it was 40 or 50 hours. So he'd been putting in a load of extra work. So a proposal went through to bring his compensation up in line with the effort that was putting in. And over the past few months, he's been a vital part of the team. He's been contributing well above his hours and delivering things like the Merkle tree eligibility module, which has allowed our 10K ENS domain vault to come on as well. So congratulations to Twade and thank you for being part of the team. And then the second one was Jackie Boy. So 12 months ago, Jackie Boy joined the consumer squad alongside Quag as one of the front-end developers. During that time, he has delivered a ton of improvements in the front end, as well as transitioning more into delivering additional back-end services as well. He's built things like the NFTX JS, which is heavily used on the Yield app. And he's just finished the first iteration of the NFTX API, which has been rolled into some areas of the Yield app today. We've seen great improvements in performance around that as well. So big congratulations to Jackie. And again, thank you for continuing to deliver the amazing work that you are doing as well. That's the update on the team. The next thing that we're going to move to and having a look at is we've been working on a new vault creation flow. We're going to run through, I can run through the prototype, or Quag, do you want to run through, or you want me to run through this and I'll let you pick up?
Yeah, I'm on phone, so I'm not set up to do anything.
Yeah, perfect. All right, let me share. So what I'll share to run through at the moment is the first iteration. So this is, we took some feedback from some of the more prolific vault creators, and then also had a look at the steps that we were going through when we had been creating vaults to get feedback from the community, and then worked through with our lead designer, JB and Quag, and the rest of the team to come up with a new flow. So with the new flow, we've tried to reduce the number of steps that users are going through and just to make things a bit more clear as they step through as well. This flow is a prototype. It's sitting on Figma. There have been some changes already in the development of it when it's been wired up for the actual website itself. Not too many, but just some UX things which work a little bit better. I figure we'll step through in the way that it's been done here. So the first page that you land on now when you're doing the Create Vault will automatically, once you've connected your wallet, will pull through all of the assets that you might already own or that you already own and allow you to choose them. So here we're going to pick Evermore as our collection that we're creating, or failing that you can always enter an asset down the bottom. If you don't own any of that particular collection, which would be unusual, but it's still available there if you need. So selecting that item brings through the contract and the name of the collection, and allows you to go through to the next step. Once we're on the next step, this is where we set the details. So things like the vault name, the vault symbol.
Not updating.
Oh, it's not updating?
If your screen, no, it's the same screen.
Let me see if I can. Okay, so moving on to the second where we set our vault details. This is where you can add your vault name and your symbol as well. So if we add those ones in, that gets added. And then we also allow you, currently it's a painful process for people to add their vault icon afterwards. Wait till the wait till the vault has been created. Then you verify that you are the owner of the vault and to send the icon through. So it's just easier to add it into this bit here. And then also we found most people don't change the properties or the parameters that are set on the vaults. So there's no need to really showcase the different areas that they might need, but you can have custom settings now. So these are settings like what features do you want on the vault?
Well, I don't think we need to go into extra.
No, we won't.
It's basically broken it down into a single flow. So like previously you'd have to, if you've never done it before, you have to basically enter the asset address and then create a vault. And then once the vault has then been created, like you wait for that transaction to complete, then you come back, you can get the manage screen. And when you're in the manage screen, you can like set fees and eligibilities and those sort of things. And then you can then go and deposit items into it, and then you'd finalize the vault. So it's upwards like 3-4 transactions, really jerky, back and forward. And you can sometimes get a bit lost. So we've broken it down now. So it's just that you step through it and do it all. And then we have a new contract that Twade's written that's going under audit like next week, I think. So it's a create vault zap basically. So everything will just happen in a maximum of 2 transactions where you'd approve the zap to put your NFTs into the vault for you. But yeah, to remove a lot of friction, basically make it so it's much easier for people to spin up these vaults and sort of browse your available assets rather than just having to like go and grab addresses and do it all manually or something. So yeah, the designs, as we tried to show, have been done for a couple of weeks, and we're at the stage now where we're just wiring up the UI to the contracts and to the new NFTX API that basically has been released today.
Yeah. Some of the other small bits which I think will make a big difference is there's always sometimes been a misunderstanding of when you're adding liquidity to the vault as to what price you might get for buys and sells and how that might appear. So we've really clarified that screen. So as you'll set it, you'll set like the actual price of the NFT itself, and then it will showcase
that one screen might be worth showing, to be fair. Like literally that
of all the screens that we can
all
show.
the screens, right?
Let's just show let's see if I can get that one to come up here.
Because we have sort of someone create a vault and stick. Here we go, yeah. So towards the end, once you selected all your assets and what's going in, you get to set the spot price of the vault, and then you choose how your staking split's going to go. And basically, the more you slide for like liquidity versus inventory, all these prices and stuff underneath will auto update, and you'll get an idea straight away of like what the slippage is going to be, what the spread's like, and just sort of like hammer the point home, I guess, of like that liquidity is required to create like an active and useful vault. Sometimes you get vaults with like 2 or 3 items set up, and like one is inventory as well as liquidity, and there's not even enough in there to perform basic actions. So we're hoping this screen that breaks down how you're going to like split your stake going in and how much liquidity ETH is required as liquidity will make it useful for people to know sort of where their vault's going to lie in terms of like its position on aggregators and such.
Yeah. As Craig was saying, that's going through the ZAP that allows all that to happen. Is going through an audit at the moment. So we're hoping that once that has passed, we'll be able to wire those up and deploy fairly soon afterwards, which should be quite exciting. Alongside those audits, there's also an additional couple of audits that are being done as well. One which is the 0x marketplace integration. I know we spoke about that at the last governance call as well, but that's still in the process of getting audited. So that will allow users to also create their own concentrated liquidity positions on something like Uni v3 if they wanted to. That wouldn't necessarily go through, well, not necessarily, it doesn't allow you to earn vault fees in the same way that staking your liquidity does through NFTX, but it will allow you to have concentrated liquidity through UDV3. And then the prices that NFTX pull back will aggregate the best price through 0x instead of going directly to Sushi to make the swaps. And then alongside that one as well, there's also a stake with ETH. So if people don't have NFTs that they want to stake, traditionally people have either staked with NFTs and ETH if they want to do liquidity, or if they just had NFTs, they would stake specifically for inventory staking. But this Zap would allow you to just put ETH in. You're not staking your ETH per se, so it's not ETH staking, but you would be either purchasing inventory or adding it to liquidity as well. But you'd be using NFTX to get the yields back that the vaults are generating, but you'd just be committing ETH instead. The other thing that's been worked on at the moment, I might just see if Alex wants to talk a little bit about as well, which was a proposal that went through around increasing the Aragon vote times and how that's progressing.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, basically that's been in the works for a while. We wanted to extend the voting time on the Aragon DAO, which was previously 48 hours, and we wanted to extend it to 7 days. And the reason for that was basically for DAO security. The more time there is for voting, the more time there is for the team to be able to vote against potentially damaging proposal put out by a third party or someone, holding NFTX tokens. And 7 days, it just allows us all to sort of, go away for the weekend, take a bit of time off if we need to, and still feel safe as long as we're checking at least a couple times a week. And it was difficult to do because Aragon basically doesn't allow you to change the voting time. What you have to do is install a new voting app on the DAO dashboard. And that means that you also have to transfer over all the voting permissions from the previous voting app to the new voting app. And that's a bit of a dangerous operation because if you do it incorrectly or in the wrong sequence, then you can actually end up getting locked out. So we hired another developer from Hive, and he helped us write a script to make the installation and to transfer over the permissions. And then part of that was also us moving all of the DAO assets into a multi-sig, just for extra caution in case something went wrong with the installation and the update. Then we would still have all the assets in the multi-sig. So it's the new voting app has been live for about a week now, and we are preparing to move the assets back into the DAO. There's been a bit of a delay because a lot of us were traveling the past week, and but now that we're back, that should be happening pretty soon. And we just want to make sure that the voting app is working and everything's going as it should be before we make that switch. But yeah, it's nice to kind of have that over with now, a bit less stress. And the only thing to keep in mind is that any vault changes, so like name changes or vault shutdowns or vault fee changes, they used to take 2 to 3 days, and now it will be more like 7 to 8 days, since those all have to go through the DAO. But yeah, other than that, it's all been successful, and shouldn't have to worry about that for a while. I'll pass it back to you, Jabri, unless any questions.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Yeah, that was it was a worrying time, and it was so short. But yeah, it is a bit of a downside with people having to wait. So that generally, when governance requests come through, we'll do a little bit of legwork around the shutting down of the vaults just to verify that the people requesting it or any of the updates, the people that are making the requests have the the most liquidity sitting in the vault, so that they're able to do that. That takes us on to the next bit, which is just an open discussion. If anyone had any questions for anyone on the team or in here, or wanted to bring something up they wanted to discuss, either just unmute yourself and throw the question out there, or type it in the chat. Doesn't look like. In that case, we can wrap up the governance call for governance call number 29. And this will be the last governance call that we have for 2022. We run the governance call on the first Wednesday of every other month. Would have been last week, but a few of us were out of town for NFT London. So the next one will be, is the first Wednesday in January going to be New Year's Day or something? But it'll be the first Wednesday in January, thereabouts. So it should be the 4th of January that we'll have the next governance call. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Cheers all.
Thanks, Jay. Yeah, thanks, everyone.